Welcome to the Historic Preservation Commission meeting on Thursday, June 12th, 2025. Hearings before the Historic Preservation Commission are quasi-judicial in nature. This is a design review process to determine if the proposed project is congruous with the special character of the historic district or landmark. Decisions of the commission are based on the record of these proceedings, the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks, and the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation. Evidence submitted to the commission for review becomes part of the record. Appeals of commission decisions are to the Wilmington Board of Adjustment and then to the Superior Court and are based on the record. Appeals must be filed within 30 days of the date of the commission's action. Evidence is received during the evidentiary hearing portion of an agenda item. Those who want to address the commission are sworn as witnesses to present material and substantial evidence to the commission. The chair recognizes that those who want to submit such evidence during the evidentiary hearing. Evidence should be directed to the commission. To ensure that the evidence is properly recorded, please come to the podium in the hall in front of us to address the commission, state your name and address, and speak clearly. Adjust the microphone if necessary. Members of the HBC are appointed by and serve at the pleasure of the City Council. Our charges with respect to the protection and preservation of properties in the city's designated historic district. We are held to the standards of the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks, and per applicable NC state law to determine if exterior changes are congruous with the special character of the city's historic districts. It is important that we deliberate the merits of each request in a manner that provides a record as to the basis of our decisions. For our decisions, please remember that our deliberation should be centered on how a project meets the design standards and whether the proposed change is congruous or is not congruous. Commissioners, if you have received or been made aware of any outside evidence related to any of the matters, please recuse yourself. At this time, I would like to request that all cell phones be either turned off or put in silent mode. Thank you. And staff, I'd like to introduce staff: Gina Essie, Assistant City Attorney; Linda Painter, Director of Planning and Development; Ben Riggle, Planning Manager; Monica Davis, Historic Preservation Planner; Amy Bradshaw, Planning Coordinator; Tracy Manning, Administrative Support Specialist. And then if commissioners could introduce themselves, please. Stage right.
Ross Tomaselli.
Stephen Sulkey.
Ashley Wilson.
Joan Keston.
Allison Watts.
Beth Rutledge.
At this time, we'll swear in witnesses that will be speaking this evening. If you know you'll be speaking this evening, if you could please stand and face this area over here, please.
Staff, applicants, and members of the public who wish to speak, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated.
First order of business is to approve minutes. Anyone have any changes to those minutes? If not, would someone please make a motion?
I motion to
Is there a
approve the
second?
minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. And our first order of business, evidentiary hearing, old business actually, 121 North 8th Street with Mr. Riggle.
Good evening, Commissioner. This case was continued from the May 8th, 2025 meeting. This case is for the proposed removal of the rear deck porch, expanded parking, concrete parking area, and installing a new concrete patio at 121 North 8th Street. The house at 121 North 8th Street was constructed circa 1990 and is a non-contributing resource located within the historic district residential. As such, all facades of the dwelling in the parcel are subject to design review. The subject property is located on the southwest corner of the intersection of North 8th Street and Chestnut Street. The applicant proposes to remove the existing rear deck porch area to allow for the enlargement of the concrete parking area by 98 square feet. The existing 7-foot by 12-foot wood deck and porch will be removed. The framing, steps, and handrail will be salvaged to construct a 4x4 landing, which is added to the project since the last meeting. And the reused steps and handrail will allow access to the rear entrance. An additional 2-foot by 7-foot area extending from the deck area towards Chestnut Street will be infilled with concrete to complete the parking area expansion. The applicant also proposes construction of a 17-foot by 11-foot, 187 square foot concrete patio off the south end of the driveway and the proposed expanded concrete parking area. The concrete will be permeable, 4 inches thick, and will be standard gray, matching the existing driveway. He has agreed to use permeable concrete, which is different from the initial proposal. The proposed expanded concrete parking area and patio will be located approximately 2 feet away west of the foundation of the house. A maximum of 285 square feet of additional property will be covered by the permeable concrete. The parcel immediately adjacent on the west of the proposed project area includes the paved parking lot for Chestnut Street Presbyterian Church. No mature trees or historic landscaping is proposed for removal as a result of this project. If approved, staff recommends that the conditions include that the proposed concrete parking area and patio shall be permeable concrete and spaced at least 2 feet from the house's foundation to provide a buffer for runoff. Framing, steps, and handrail shall be salvaged from the existing rear porch and deck and reused for a landing and access to the rear entrance. No mature trees or historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of the proposed project. All construction shall comply with the regulations and requirements imposed by the Land Development Code and other laws. Changes to the project that are described in the application shall be reviewed by the HPC or by administrative staff. Are there any questions?
No? Thank you. If the applicant is present, would you like to come forward and add anything to this? So they didn't come in May and not. I emailed them. Okay. Okay. Without that, we'll move. Are there anyone here in support or against this concept? Okay. With that, we will close the evidentiary portion of this agenda item and move to staff deliberation.
I'm basically happy that now it's pervious, not impervious.
Okay. Anyone else? Thoughts? Everything fine? Anything to take away from it? No? Okay. Someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll do it. I move to approve with conditions the request for moving the rear deck, expanding the existing concrete driveway with additional parking area, and installing a concrete patio for the property located at 121 North 8th Street. This request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks based upon the evidence provided, including the application, all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report, conditions 1 through 5.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? That passes unanimously.
Yay.
312 South Front Street.
Case 2 is for the proposed replacement of 2 existing entrances with a single entrance and replacement of 3 existing windows and door on the rear west elevation with 4 sliding doors at 312 South Front Street. The 2-story colonial revival house at 312 South Front Street was constructed circa 1910 and is recorded as the Love House, a contributing resource to the Historic District residential. As such, all facades of the dwelling and the parcel are subject to design review. The subject property is located on the west side of South Front Street, 3 parcels south of its intersection with Ann Street. The applicant proposes to remove the existing duplex entrance doors and replace them with a single wood frame entry door painted white on the south side elevation of the dwelling. The applicant also proposes to remove the existing 3 7/1 windows and rear 10 light door protected by a wood frame storm door on the first floor of the rear and the west elevation, and replace them with 4 wood frame sliding doors painted white. The brick will be infilled and painted to match the house. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. All glazing shall be clear with no tint. The doors and windows removed as a result of this project shall be retained for possible reuse as replacements for the dwelling and/or donation to the Legacy Architectural Salvage. All construction shall comply with regulations and all regulations and state requirements of the Land Development Code and other laws. And changes to the project that are described shall be reviewed by the Preservation Commission or through the bypass process. Are there any questions?
No? No, thank you. Would the applicant like to come forward and speak to this item, please? And answer any questions?
Hey there, it's good to see you all. I'm Rob Romero, 1006 North 3rd Street.
Eric Davis, 1636 Osprey Cove Court.
answer any questions you have so far.
We'll offer some clarifications because we didn't submit full documentation on this. So for the front door, front entry replacement, what we're proposing is a wood door constructed with sapele, and I have a shop drawing that I could give to you guys if you'd like to see it.
Is that the, we're talking about the one, it's not, Eric, is it actually a front door or is it
No,
a
it's
side door?
the main entrance, but it's a side.
It's on the side,
entrance.
okay.
Yeah.
So is it a big full light door, kind of like the image that we had in the application?
It's about a half-light door.
Half light, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, and then it's got kind of vertical panels for the lower panel.
okay. Does anyone want to, do you all want to see that, whatever this diagram is? Is that something you could
Yeah.
give to us? We can pass it around? Here, maybe start over this way, please.
Yeah, we think it fits the house a little bit better, the design style of the house.
Agreed. I don't know if this would be a requirement, but have you considered a door like this that may get a side light? It just seems like a narrow door. It seems kind of lonely over there. I don't know if that would fit.
It's a 3'6" door, so it's a little bit.
Oh, it's big,
It's a
okay,
little bit wider, yeah.
okay,
3'6" by 8'0", so it's a tall door.
okay. In the application, does it say? Oh, it is, okay. It says it's 40 inches here, 3'4". Any other questions of the applicant?
Do the sliding doors, do they kind of look like the image you
Yeah.
guys have there?
We have some details on that and an additional request regarding windows. So for the sliders, this is the owners wanted to see if you would consider a more modern slider for the back of the house. They were looking at the Fleetwood 3000T, which is an all-aluminum slider. I've got a brochure to show you guys. They wanted to see, since there is no visibility from the street, if that's something that you would consider, understanding that it's not historically consistent, but since it is the back of the house, they wanted to see if that's something you would be open to considering. And I have the catalog I could pass around.
I know those doors are super nice. The windows are really cool though, so I'm kind of torn. I feel like if you save them for, I think in the notes or something, it said you'd save them for like if the other windows, if you need to replace them. I understand wanting it to be totally open, and the Fleetwood door is really nice, so I think I would consider that. Those are just really cool windows that they have there.
While we're talking, can we see and maybe start over here again with that?
The back of the house is visible from the Riverwalk, though?
Not quite. It's pretty high up, from the back. I think you can't quite see it.
And this door, you said this Fleetwood is also 4 panels?
4 panels, correct, yes.
How many of those panels are operable?
The 2 center ones.
Okay. And full kind of light like this, there's not a taller rail on the bottom or something like that?
No, just
Okay.
a single light per panel.
Yeah, it's an unusual window that's there now, that's 7/1.
Do we have a picture of what's back there now?
Yeah. Can we bring that up on existing is on the right. You see that, Stephen?
Oh, all right. Then.
Yeah, they're beautiful windows. It's,
To Joan's point, is this visible from the Riverwalk?
I don't think you can. Can you see
It backs
that?
up to Water
No.
Street, and then the Riverwalk's on the other side of it. So
Right.
I don't think you could see it from the Riverwalk. It backs up to Water Street, and then you have the Riverwalk. So it might be visible, but I don't know if it's visible from the Riverwalk.
There's a large 20, maybe even 30-foot retaining wall that drops down to the, I guess it's an extension of Water Street, but where the parking is for Pilot House.
Yeah.
And I think the restaurant itself blocks your sight line from the Riverwalk.
A lot of those houses, it doesn't block.
No, it doesn't?
No, I can't recall this one specifically, but a lot of the houses on that area, you can see
You can
the
see it,
back.
okay. I haven't looked from
Yeah.
up there, but looking down, it's hard to see
Yeah.
the river walk from the yard, but
Yeah, but if you're walking, you can see up there.
you can, okay.
I just want to point out that these windows are really unusual. I can't recall seeing anything like this. I think if these were a more standard historic window that we're going to find at Legacy and, they're a dime a dozen, I would be more inclined for the sliding door, but because they're so unusual, it's difficult.
There was a case, I remember some time ago, a couple years probably, where there were some windows sort of like this. There were some transoms that had some detailing to it. And so the new doors that were brought in, the sliders, incorporated a transom, something over top to give it some of this rhythm back, not to take that rhythm away entirely, but I don't know if that would be an option to get some kind of interesting detailing.
Yeah, actually, one of my first versions had a transom over that, so that might help.
Are these supposed to be 6'8" height? What's being?
They're 8.0. I think what we could also consider is switching to like a Marvin Ultimate, which is a wood slider, and we could do a custom grill pattern instead of the transom. We could do a grill pattern similar to what you have in those windows. That's really the unique thing about the windows on this home, is it's got a very interesting grill pattern, the way it's kind of segmented out. So we could do something similar to that to maintain that pattern and use a wood slider that has more historical elements to it.
I could soften it. Is that thoughts about that? Ross, Stephen, anyone?
I have a catalog also for the Marvin Ultimate series if you guys would like to see that.
This might have no relevance, but as a practical point, I had wood slider doors that I had to replace because they were so heavy you couldn't open them. And they were gorgeous doors, but that would be something I would consider when you're doing this, because the minute you get into very heavy, good Marvin, they were Marvin doors, sliding doors was really difficult to go back and forth through all the time.
Yeah, I personally, I think that's a fair compromise if there's a way of kind of preserving some of the historic character of what's there while also having, the modern feature of being able to open and close. I think that would, to me, that would make sense. And if this was a private backyard in downtown where no one could see in, it'd be hard for us to say anything. But since there is a good chance with this overlooking the river of people being able to look up and see it, I think finding a way to kind of keep the historic character is important.
Understood, yeah.
So I don't know how to go about approving this because we don't have anything in front of us. We don't know what this new detailing would look like, and I don't know if there's enough information that could be presented to staff for a bypass look at this, or if this is something that we'd want to see what that looks like before it gets approved. I wonder if it's either the transom, like you had mentioned, that was a possibility, or if you kept it at 8 foot, to have some divided light within even a portion of that. I don't know what Marvin can do, what level of custom they can do. If they could take an 8-foot door panel and on the upper portion of that create something like that pattern like we see, or I don't know what they can do with that.
This series is fully customizable, so we can certainly do something like that.
And this is masonry. So are the tops of those windows, those 3 windows right now, are they at about 8 feet?
They're
probably pretty
closer
close.
to 9 feet.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, they're up there.
Okay. I'm not sure how to go about doing an approval on this. Like unless you can be really specific with something to give us something to think about right now, what you may propose, what this is going to come out looking like.
I would say that we'd do a similar grill pattern to what you see in the windows there, where you've got an upper leg and a lower leg, maybe the bottom of it being somewhere around 6'8", and then we change we keep like a consistent spacing for the lower section, and then the upper section, every other vertical, we would skip it so it matches with a similar pattern to what you have in the existing windows.
Yeah, I love that you're working with us. I just don't know how to, I don't know how everyone feels about making a decision on something like this, just a verbal outline of what this might look like.
Well, what is your timeline on needing this specific piece approved?
Oh, well, ideally as soon as possible, just because of the lead times associated with the custom slider.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are these the only windows in the house with this grill pattern? I'm looking at the pictures, it looks like everything else is a 3/1.
No, they all have the same grill pattern,
They
but
do?
there's storm windows over all of the other windows.
Okay,
So
it's
it's
hard
a
to
little
tell.
hard to see from the photo.
Okay. And this was all the original grill pattern in the house? I mean, this house looks like it has more modifications than the last 50 years.
It seems to have had some modifications.
A few, yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see what faces south. It's that same pattern, that 7/1, at least on a lot of the first floor. And maybe there's a landing up there, some stairs. I'm not sure, but yeah, that pattern is repeated all around the house. So I'm stuck, and I'm trying to divine something from the commission what we'd like to do with this. A little more input, if we could, just to help figure this out, how to go about making a ruling on this.
Well, if we deny it, then they have to reapply and come back. So unless we leave it open for another month with getting something a little more specific.
I can get a drawing to Ben pretty soon, like tomorrow. He can get it to you guys.
Mr. Yurmal, I think you also need to open the evidentiary hearing.
That's a good point.
also.
That's a good point. We haven't got to that yet. Yeah. Well, we will get there for sure. Thank you for the reminder. I'm sorry, so the idea of leaving it open might be one too. Okay. Until next month.
Or at least that part, and approve the other part.
Approve of the, that door around
The
the
front door.
side. Sure, yeah,
Front door.
I think that, would we have any, when we get to that point, any objections to anything? Do we have any questions or comments about the door on the south elevation?
No.
Okay. Okay. Maybe we want to ask if anyone else is here, unless you guys have, I'm sorry, was there anything else to mention right now?
Permission to replace the first floor windows was brought up, again, to look at the Marvin Ultimate series and put in replicating windows as far as the grill pattern is concerned.
For these new slider doors, you mean?
For the rest of the windows on the first floor. So the existing windows are all single pane wood, original windows, but they have storm windows over them, and it kind of distorts the visibility of them.
I'm sorry, was that a part of the application to begin with?
No.
I'm sorry, you're saying all of the first floor windows, remove those and put in new windows?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's not a part of here that I saw. No.
No, it was discovered during construction, the age and the storm windows over it.
It was a request that didn't make the
I see.
agenda cutoff, so we wanted to bring it up and see what your initial thoughts would be on that proposition.
Probably not
And want to
good.
share the initial thoughts?
Not good.
Yeah, that's a hard one. That's uphill.
Nice try. Not good.
Okay. So maybe let's ask if anyone else in the audience wants to speak in favor or against this. Then we'll deliberate for a minute, and if we need to, maybe we'll ask you guys to come back up and offer some other assistance. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this, any aspects of this motion, or, I'm sorry, not this motion, but this agenda item, or against it? Okay, seeing none. if we could deliberate this a little bit, hear some thoughts. I'd love to hear, it's a little sticky, there's some sticky things here, and so if we can, I'd like to hear from everyone with some thoughts, and let's try to get this thing into a motion or a path forward.
Yeah, I think the side door, I think we're kind of all on the same page there. I think the thing that's tough with the back, I think you guys coming in knew that it was a big ask, so I feel like we have to continue it. I think that's what makes the most sense, is continuing that portion, coming back with renderings that, you know, we can approve, because I don't think we can really approve it the way it is right now.
Understood. Okay. Stephen, you agree with this, or anything to add, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Ashley?
I agree.
You know, I think that, you know, it's going to have a second look.
Yeah.
Agree.
Agreed? Okay.
They're just beautiful, and
Okay.
it's a
Yeah.
shame, you know, to put, yeah.
I think the idea of opening all that up is, because the river's there, is
Sure.
beautiful. But those aluminum doors, and when you look at those in comparison to the windows, it falls really short.
Well, I think what they're going to do is come back with one of these customizable Marvin wood, whether you had issues with it at your own home or not. I think that might be pursued. You know, and I know there was a condition too, I just want to put it out there, there was a condition that that these windows are offered to, if they come out, that these windows are offered to Legacy Architectural Salvage. And I've been happily a part of a couple of construction projects downtown where, in someone's wisdom, decades or centuries ago, they decided to do things with windows, and maybe they removed a window in a stairwell, but they took that window, the frame and the sashes, it's happened twice, and they put them in the attic. One we found the window in an attic, and one was in a basement. And we actually could do the research and find, you know, again, decades later, where those windows were located, and we went through a bypass, because we found evidence, and got those windows, the old original wood windows, reinstalled. Point being, I wonder if it gets to that point that they're not offered to Legacy, because Legacy wouldn't use them the same as if they were staying with the home and they went in the basement or in an attic and just got preserved for some future owner that wanted to bring back that original.
Look,
I would ask that would actually be a condition.
Yeah.
I think because these windows are so unique and they only seem to exist in this home,
Yeah.
it kind of
Right.
breaking up the family doesn't seem to make sense.
Yeah.
So.
Well put. So we're going to continue this. I'm sorry. We're going to.
yeah, continue this part and approve the
So
side
if,
entrance.
I'm sorry, if someone could staff help, but how do we do this thing where it's a double, if you will? We're gonna approve that side entrance door, the 3-4, 3-6, whatever it was, the wood door, but we want to continue the balance of this. How would we go about phrasing that? Into a two-part deal here?
I would just approve the front and then extend the other until next month.
Okay. Did we close the evidentiary?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm wondering if y'all could do the side door by bypass, and then just,
The door on the south entrance, this one where you got the two doors there now?
that we're going to approve if they did that through bypass, because we,
Oh, we'll just approve it right now.
approve it
Yeah,
now.
okay. Actually, if someone make a motion just on that item, and maybe we could separate this and we'll continue the rest of it.
I'll give it a shot.
I'm sorry, okay. Okay. So, well, I'd have to look. So this was, when you say item number 5,
we don't have a 5.
We don't have a 5.
the scope of work listed.
It only goes 1 to 4.
Oh, are you talking about conditions?
It's in my case summary. I'm
Oh.
sorry, yeah. You probably are looking at the same paper I'm looking at.
No.
3.
So we could just do it in a verbal fashion and just,
How about if I give it a shot and you edit it as I speak? I move to approve with conditions the request for replacing the 2 existing entrances with a single entrance that's at the side of the home, and to delay until the following month's meeting, replacing the 3 existing windows and door on the rear elevation with floor sliding doors, depending on information coming back to us at the next meeting, for the property located at 312 South Front Street. The request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks as to the 2 existing entrances and the single entrance, based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report. I think that says it all, doesn't it?
I think so.
Is that okay the way it is?
Does that include the conditions?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes conditionally and continue part of it. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm still looking on those sliders. Is it possible to put a glass transom on top of the sliders with the pattern that's on the top of the windows and then put the 4 bars on the
I
sliders?
don't know what's possible, but they're going to work on that. They're going to work on something. They're going to
Something.
revise this.
Because the thing is, the windows have such height and the sliders don't. I'm trying to get more
Yeah.
light and get that up higher to kind of match what's there now.
Yep, I think they understand that. Okay. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 3, 501 South Fifth Avenue.
Good evening, Chair and Commission members. The house located at 501 South Fifth Avenue is a contributing resource to historic district residential. As such, all revisions to the building's facades and site are subject to design review to ensure compliance with the district's historic preservation guidelines. The applicant proposes the following exterior alterations: remove the existing chimneys and replace with faux chimneys, remove the existing upper rear facade door and replace with historical appropriate window, remove the existing side door and replace with historical appropriate window, and propose a new door opening at the side elevation. According to the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion and additional documentation, the Hall House was constructed circa 1904. It's a 2-story patio house with a hip roof and a projected panoramic bay. The subject property is located at the northwest corner of the intersection of South Fifth Avenue and Church Street. The applicant proposes to remove the existing 2 chimneys and replace them with a custom-built faux chimney with the exact material and appearance of the original chimneys. The proposed faux chimneys will be located in the same location above the roof line. Remove the existing upper rear east facade door and install a new double-hung with window measuring 24 by 48. The proposed window will be clear glass with no tint. Remove the existing side north elevation door and install a new double-hung window measuring 24 by 48. The proposed window will be clear glass with no tint. A new door opening will be introduced on the side elevation of the gable-ended rear entry. The proposed door will be Ritz L. Craftsman mahogany door measuring 36 by 80 with low E glass, no tint. The staff notes the following: the 2 existing exterior doors located on the rear east facade and side north elevation are not original to the house. The existing chimneys appear to be in good condition. If the commission elects to issue a certificate of appropriateness for this request, staff recommends the following conditions be applied. All window glass shall be clear with no tint. Wood siding shall match the exact dimensions and material of the existing wood siding. A new chimney shall be located in the same location as the existing chimneys above the roof line. Do you have any questions?
Yes, a couple of questions.
Sure.
Was there a detail for what these, when you were matching the new windows to what's there? First of all, there aren't any windows. I'll ask them about that in a second, but what are the manufacturer, the style, are they SDLS, SDL?
Yes, he didn't provide that at the close of the at the hearing, so he will have to speak upon that. But originally, he was going to restore the existing windows, and then after he started doing the project, he realized they all need to be replaced. So that's why he doesn't have any windows there currently now. But I'm sure he can speak more about that in his.
And all it has is that they're clear, not tinted. We don't know what they're made of or why they were taken out and where they went.
I think wood.
They were wood.
They were wood, but the new ones.
Would be
Don't
wood
say
as
that
well.
they're wood. They nowhere in that does it say it's wood? It just says they're clear. Did I miss something?
In the packet, there was an email from the applicant
Yes, it's.
to Monica, and it just mentioned wood, but that's, we don't have any detail about the new windows. We don't know what they, the divided light, the pattern, the muntin, what it looks like, yeah.
Where
so
the others are?
yes.
What happened to them?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure the applicant can speak to that nature, but they will be double hung wood windows. But Marvin, I don't know in particular the manufacturer who would be providing the windows.
Did you say that the chimneys were in good shape still?
Yes, I think he's going to speak about, he wants to change them for the interior. I think the interior of where the chimneys are inside the house is compromising the rest of the house. So he will speak to that as well.
I looked at this. I think the chimney's the only thing holding up the house right now, but I'd love to speak to the applicant.
and this project came through this commission about a year or so ago, right? Sometime in '24?
Yes, for the front door, it was a single door. He did it was 2 single doors, and he did 1 double door. So that was, I think, last December. And then for the windows, that was through bypass application, and so,
Okay.
yeah.
Is
And
that,
they were to fix those windows?
He originally, I think his plan was to fix the windows. Currently now, he's saying that they cannot be fixed. I guess they're not feasible for him, and so he wants to do replacement windows. And so he just turned in that application today, actually. So I'm sure he can speak to that as well.
okay. And the bungalow-style door, I think it was referred to as, I'm sorry, one more time. Where is that door? It's on the side? On the north
Yes, I
side?
can show you. So it's going to be, so originally the existing door.
Or craftsman, yeah.
Yeah. So he wants to move it to further down on the elevation and then replace that door
Yeah.
with the window.
Is there any evidence that we have of what the door, what does the door look like now that's there?
It's one light, right? Here, wait a minute.
It's not.
It's, yeah.
Oh,
there it
okay.
is. Yeah.
That may not be original either.
Yeah, the doors are not original to
No.
no. Mm-mm. Either that door or the rear facade door is not original.
Okay. Okay.
So the siding that has already been replaced?
In some portions, this is an ongoing project that has
Okay,
been
okay.
ongoing for a while now. Yeah.
Do you know if the sashes still exist somewhere in a shop, or are they gone?
I think he has to speak for that.
Okay.
For my nature, I think he still has them because they removed them to repair them and then they couldn't. So I'm assuming he still has them in place somewhere.
Okay. Okay. And we didn't have an engineer's letter or anything like that too, right? There was no structural
No.
report on the
It
chimney?
was not, no.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If the applicant's here, if you could come forward, please, and state your name and address and any clarifications or questions.
Hello, I hope all is well. I'm Logan Kavanaugh, the owner of 501 South Fifth Ave. Any questions? Or where do we start with the questions? Let me word it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the chimneys?
Yes, ma'am. So honestly, with the floor plan that my drafter had come up with, they were in the way. I was trying to get around it because, first of all, I love the chimneys and how they are to the home. I had a structural engineer come in after the house was gutted just to let me know if everything structurally with the house was okay, and he did mention to me that the chimneys themselves could possibly compromise the structural integrity of the home, and I believe there was photos attached at some point or another, at least submitted.
We saw a photo of, it looked like just the firebox or the
Yeah,
hearth
firebox.
down, and not any framing around the chimney or anything like that. Did you have any kind of report from that engineer, or was it
No,
just
sir.
verbal?
It was just a comment.
Okay, and the interior is gutted right now? There are no
Yes, sir.
finishes on the
Yes.
walls? Okay. So the chimneys, so, I'm sorry, do you feel like, was your question answered about the condition of the chimney?
Yes, and obviously, chimneys are a contributing source in the historic district, and they're not just decorative, as you've discovered. They have a structural functionality. It's hard to approve taking down something that appears to be structurally sound. So while I think it's understandable that for a certain type of floor plan that might be desirable, but it could really damage the structural integrity of the house. As Stephen pointed out, it may be the only thing that's holding it up right now. We're not sure, but chimneys do play an important role. So unless we had more information about the structural integrity, I think it would be hard to have much more of a conversation about that.
Of course.
And
As far as that goes, I can definitely speak to that structural engineer again and get his full comments written down if that would work better, and we'll see which way it goes from there. That way we can.
Yeah, to see some photographs around each level, at the first and second floor, maybe the top of the second floor, the attic framing around it, the roof framing around the chimney, just to have a better view, because all we can see right now is that one photograph that I think is on the first floor.
And also, as far as that goes, there was two companies that I had in mind. It was.
Sir, can you stand closer to the microphone,
Yes,
please?
ma'am, my apologies.
Thanks.
There was two companies that were listed in that. I believe one of them.
Listed as consultants, you mean?
No, as RTO, and I believe it was. I don't have it written. There we go. GRB and Brick Fab are two companies that actually take historical homes, and they will make the chimneys, Fox chimneys for them that are made out of the exact material that are one-to-one spec for that as well.
And so what you're proposing is just from the roof line up?
Yes, sir.
It would just be a new, okay. And fill us in, I mean, to your credit, you just bought this not too long ago, right?
So to be honest with Joe, I am 24 years old, and I have put my life savings into this house and had no idea what I was doing.
But it had been deteriorating for a long time.
Yes, sir. It was pretty bad whenever I got it, and I'm just thankful that I was in a position where I was able to. And I've always been a fan of historical homes. My brother actually owns one in Richlands, and I've fallen in love with it, and it's somewhere I want to live.
And was there a demolition by neglect order on this home in particular?
There was actually.
By code enforcement?
And I had no idea that it was in effect before I purchased the property, because even on the title search or anything I had tried to previously come up with, it didn't show. And then right after I purchased it, they were like, hey, there's a demolition by neglect.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to look at this the best I could, and sir, you have got a task ahead of you on this house. I mean, you know, some siding was replaced, but just about all the rest of it looks like it needs replaced. The front porch is full. Actually, I couldn't find much in this house that looked like it was still in one piece. And I need to see the inside. But, you know, God bless. I mean, I've got no issues with moving these doors around. That's a trivial thing on this house. But again, you know, literally, I'm wondering if you take that chimney down, what will happen? I mean, is there support under the walls? I mean, first of all, do you know, is this balloon construction? Probably at this age. Do you know what the difference between balloon and platform?
It's got to be balloon framed.
It is.
Yeah.
It's balloon?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, so I mean, is there, even in the crawl space, is there enough support for the interior walls if you take the chimney? I mean, I would love to, I think Chris is right. I'd love to have an engineer really give you a plan here.
Yes, sir.
And look everywhere.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think that's going to be a problem.
And it's going to be a strike against the house, a resale in the future, where if this doesn't have, like, and you have actually a really good opportunity right now to restore the chimney all the way up and make it right. It's been done before. It's not that difficult. But to take that thing out, and I worry that, you know, in the future you possibly could be installing something that's not really hurricane resistant. I don't know how something like this attaches. I've never seen this. We've never seen this as a commission, and that I can recall. But
And people like to people work around fireplaces
yeah,
all the time.
yeah, it's an opportunity.
Yeah, to keep it, and it taking a fireplace out really does hurt the integrity of the house. Where are the windows?
Not just the structural integrity, but the integrity of,
Where are the windows?
yeah. Where-
So the windows, actually, we had got the minor COA to remove those to restore them. And first of all, I'm in love with those windows because even going back and when they were removed, there was pieces of newspaper and letters that were shoved under the jambs of the windows, which I think is one of the coolest things ever. But we removed those, and whenever we did, we brought them back to a custom carpenter that actually has been in the historical district in Little Italy for over 50 years.
I'm sorry, where? Here?
Little Italy.
Little Italy?
Yes, sir.
And which Little Italy?
I'm gonna sit here and lie to you. That's all he told me.
Oh.
But
She said Chicago.
that's something that he had been in, and he advised me that it was going to be more than I could afford to have those windows rebuilt where they are, because what he was showing me after he removed the glazing, that the sashes themselves on the bottom and corners are deteriorating, and because of how many coats of paint, it was holding the wood together.
It doesn't sound,
It's generally easier, like, I don't know what the condition of these windows is like. It's 90% of the time, it's easier to rebuild these and cheaper to rebuild them, to rebuild parts of them if you have a carpenter, someone in a shop that's done it before. I mean, there's some joinery that once someone knows the joinery and they have the tool, they can rebuild these things out of wood. It's extremely rare that it's going to be more cost effective to get a quality wood, whether it's new construction or replacement. It's difficult to consider a situation where you're going to pay less to put a newer window in there than it is to have a competent, capable carpenter. And there are a handful in town. You go to Historic Wilmington Foundation, and they have a resources network, and I can think of 3 off the top of my head that could build these things brand new sashes, or if you have half of your sashes rotted, they can rebuild the half that's rotted and put it back together, and you just put it back in the. But are they are they available, or are they in the shop in Little Italy?
No, I've got them at my shop in Richlands, North Carolina.
Oh.
Actually, just an hour down the road.
Labeled, and you know which opening they go in?
The really beautiful thing about wood windows is they were made to be repaired over and over and over and over again. You can replace glass and glazing and sills, and everything can be cobbled together and repaired, and that's one of the gifts that this house is giving you. I want to give you kudos for taking on a scary old house, especially at your age. This is not for the faint of heart. I think if you are, open to kind of rethinking what you want to get rid of and think about it instead, just like switch that kaleidoscope a little bit and think about what am I willing to keep to work with the house, I think you'll find that the end product is going to serve you and generations for longer.
Yeah, you and generations, I agree. Do you have any, do you have a window selected? If we were trying to get you something moving on this project, do you have this new window that's on the rear elevation where there's currently a door to nowhere, who's the manufacturer? Do you have any details on the dimensions and the?
So I sent that full manufacturing spec and count over. I don't think I submitted it in time because I sent it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But I did send that over.
Mr. Chair, we actually have pulled up on the screen, there are 4 pages that we cannot figure out how, but they are not in your packet, but they are in the case materials link on the commission's webpage. So Amy's gonna kind of scroll through those. There are a couple of ones with a lot of different text, or with a lot of text on them, but you will see a proposed door as well as the proposed window.
Okay, so the window, what's above that door image is the detail on the door. What's below it is the detail on the window. Well, it's a mahogany door, we see that, and it's a craftsman style, which is unusual for this house.
Mm-hmm. What did the original windows look like?
Were they 2/2?
They were 4/4.
4/4, were they?
Really?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, okay, that makes, well, I see it. Some of them were, yeah, at least some of them were 4/4. Wait, no, that shows 2/2. There are 4/4?
I think
The upper sash was divided into 2 pieces of glass or 4?
There was 2 sections above and below.
On the upper sash alone. So there were
Up
4
and
pieces
below.
of glass on the upper and then 4 on the lower sash. So it was 4 over 4.
I think you need to explore getting those windows fixed. Have you priced these windows that you've got that we haven't seen the specs of?
Yes, ma'am, I was told it was going to be right at $175 an hour for repair on those, and he couldn't tell me.
No, I'm
that.
talking about the new windows.
Oh, the new windows, yes, I don't believe that was submitted, but I can send that in, yes, ma'am.
Well, I think that we don't have enough information, and I think that you need to explore the chimney situation, the structural engineer. You need to explore with some people, get with Historic Wilmington Foundation and explore saving those windows, which is probably going to save you a lot of money.
You know, there are others, but Exley Custom Woodworking and Cape Fear Carpentry are 2 that can repair these in their sleep, really. I'm so glad that you have the windows, though.
I know.
100%, no matter what they were, I was definitely keeping them. And
Okay.
even like y'all mentioned earlier, I thought it was so cool with the idea with keeping all of, or at least the majority of them that could with the home if we did decide to change them out, because I love that idea.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there's anything, we don't have enough information on these details. Yeah, so this is a work with staff on the next go-around with this, but Historic Wilmington Foundation can help with identifying some folks to work on the sashes. You bring them back from Richlands back to Wilmington and get some work done. Maybe they're not quite as bad as this person in some distant land is saying, Little Italy. Were any other questions for? No? Okay.
Yeah, check with Mike Exley.
Yank him out of semi-retirement, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's some options there for, I think you've got a really cool house, and like on North Fifth, South Fifth, that's like, you're on a great street, the city's taking care of the streets and the sidewalks out in front of you, and you've got a gem here, so just want you to tie off some of these little details and get the thing figured out. But if we're gonna, unless we have other questions or comments for the applicant.
Continue.
Okay, we're just gonna continue it. Just continue it. Okay. So someone want to make a motion to that effect?
To submit this to public hearing before.
Oh, you're right. Yep, I'm sorry. So, okay, well, we're going to ask for audience participation here in a second, okay? So, no other comments or questions for the applicant. Anyone in the public would like to speak in favor or against any of these motions? Seeing none, we'll close that commissioner deliberation. I think we've deliberated well enough with the applicant in front of us. So, if we can, someone make a motion, please.
I motion to continue. I'm sorry.
Second.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay.
And just when you bring it back with a lot of the comments we made about the different aspects, the windows and the chimney.
Yes, ma'am.
You're on the right path. We appreciate your working with us on this.
I appreciate y'all's help.
You've got
I really couldn't do it without
no,
y'all.
you've got some good opportunities here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We want to work with you
appreciate
and make it
y'all.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 4, 507 Gray Street.
The Eagle Heart House located at 507 Gray Street is a contributing resource to the Historic District Residential HDR. Such all revisions to the building's facades and site are subject to design review to ensure compliance with the district's historic preservation guidelines. The applicant proposes to replace the existing slate roof with the asphalt shingle roof. According to the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion and Additional Documentation Report, the Eagle Heart House was constructed in circa 1920. It is a large 2-story duplex with a primary roof, hip dormer, 2-tier porch supported by brick piers. The subject property is located on the west side of Gray Street between North 5th Avenue and North 6th Avenue. The applicant proposes to replace the existing slate roof and replace roof material with an asphalt shingle roof. The asphalt shingle roof will be Owens Combing duration and color onyx black. Also replace in-kind all deteriorated wood that is compromising the structural integrity of the roof. Staff notes that existing slate roof is in deteriorated condition. If the commission elects to issue a certificate of appropriateness for this request. Staff recommends the following conditions to be applied. The removal of the existing slate roof should be in a manner that doesn't compromise the integrity of the roof. All the existing chimneys should remain intact and in the same position on the roof line. Do we have any questions?
Was that the only image we have of the proposed new roof, the asphalt shingle roof, the last image that was up there?
Yeah, it's also, it was in the packet as well, some images.
Okay, but just for all to see that. So that's not something that's trying to mimic the slate that's there? That's
No,
just
it's not. No, it's going to be asphalt shingle. It's not going to mimic the slate, no. And that, it also was a write-up about different price points that would mimic, but that was out the applicant's price point. So that is also noted in the application process.
So mimic meaning an asphalt shingle that mimics the slate shape and color?
It was called grand, right. It was
Or a
called the grand-
composite?
An asphalt shingle that mimics the slate. It was
Okay.
called the Grand Manor in your applicant.
Okay.
Proposal sheet.
Is this on that invoice that's in the packet?
It is, yes.
Okay, so the one at 37,000 and change, is that the one that would mimic, and the other one is 23 and change? That's the regular architectural shingle?
The one out of 100 was to repair, to replace the slate and replace it. The one at 23 was the architectural shingle, and there was one at like 35 or 36 that would have the same, it would mimic the
slate.
Right, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If the applicant would like to come forward, please, and answer any other questions or speak to the application, please, on this project.
I'm Renee Garris at 507 Gray Street.
Okay, you live in the home, and this is your home? Okay.
Yes.
Was there anything to add? Or do we have any clarification? No?
Clarification on the type of, was it the manor, the black?
Just any details that may not have been covered in the presentation.
Okay, no, she basically said everything. Everything's included in there, the packet.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? No questions? No? Okay. And I'm sorry, so I personally, I read this in the application, and I saw things about pricing and stuff like that, but is it my proper understanding that you've considered like a shingle roof, like an asphalt shingle roof that looks like slate?
Yes, and I've actually had the guy come out and give a price range for that.
And I'm sorry, what was the name of that?
Vigilant.
Application packet, it was called the Grand Manor.
The Grand Manor, okay. Okay. And we don't know what the Grand Manor looks like, other than the fact that ostensibly it's supposed to look like the slate, right? There's not was there an image in the application of the Grand Manor? I don't recall seeing
I think it was just the description.
Just a description of it.
A faux slate.
Is the roof leaking?
Yes.
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 Okay. Okay, so there was an Owens Corning duration, a certaintied Grand Manor, and a certaintied carriage house. And those last two were considered slate appearing, like they have that appearance of slate, the asphalt shingles. Okay. Okay, that's the Grand Manor, got it. Okay. Did you have more than one roofer price this out and look at the work?
I did.
You did? Okay.
Multiple people. Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone like to speak in favor or against this item? Seeing none, we'll move to Commissioner deliberation. Someone like to lead with a thought on this?
Well, since our job is to determine if something is congruous with the community, and since these kinds of houses often have asphalt shingle, there's no reason why it's not congruous to make the change.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Even the Grand Manor still looks like shingles to me. You know, slate is slate and shingles are shingles, so.
Want to remind the commission, I believe it was the house on the corner of Princess and 7th. That was a slate roof, and we made them use the slate, what do you want to call it, appearing asphalt shingles, which I believe on that job ran over $10,000 more over the architectural. So historically, when we've allowed shingles to replace slate, I believe the commission has wanted it to be the slate looking and not just the architectural.
No, we've done the other as well.
You have done the
Yes.
other as well? It'd be good if we had some of the historic record here. Okay. Well.
Okay, so we've heard from a couple or three. Anyone else have a comment?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see asphalt shingles around. I think slate is awesome, but I can't imagine asking someone to put it back. And it has like a 100-year lifespan, and I'm sure this is over 100 years old.
Yeah.
So I think I'm fine with asphalt shingles.
Yeah.
Don't look like slate.
The Owens Corning duration, yeah, okay. Beth, any ideas, thoughts? I think we all acknowledge that slate is dying a slow death in this district. If anything, people have gone like above and beyond, in our opinion, by doing some composite, like not an asphalt, but there are other things that look like slate, other items that look like slate that are not slate, but they're not asphalt either. And that's, every once in a while someone will do that, but you know, these slate roof and the slate look is, it's unfortunate, but it's going away. Just because they're, to your point, like
Price.
100-year lifespan, and you know,
Price of it.
it's really hard to work on these things. Once they start to go, you can't do repairs on them, and not have to do repairs every other day afterwards.
I think every roof that we've allowed to be replaced was somewhere is in this ballpark. This is a 105-year-old one. It's all around 105 to about 125. Somewhere's in there they die. So, yes, not unusual.
Okay.
Want a motion?
Is there a motion?
I move to approve with conditions the request for replacing existing slate roof with asphalt shingle roof to the property located at 507 Gray Street. The request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for historic districts and landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing and the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against?
No.
No. What was that count?
I was an aye, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Beth?
Oh, aye.
5, okay. 5 to 2. That passes 5 to 2.
Okay.
Okay. This, thank you. This next agenda item, I need to recuse myself, as I have some involvement with the project.
I'll need a motion for someone to
I move.
serve as vice chair for Chair Yermal.
I move to serve as vice chair in his absence. Oh, I move to allow his recusal. And for Joan to step in.
Okay.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Joan will serve as interim chair.
Ready? Case 5 is for a proposed revision to the storefront facade of 9 South Front Street that was initially approved under COA MJW-34-2512 in December 2024. The 3-story commercial building at 9 South Front Street, known as the S&B Solomon Dry Goods Building, was constructed in 1899 and was designed by architect Henry Bonnets. The building is a contributing resource to the Central Business District Historic District overlay. As such, only that which can be seen from the public right-of-way, excluding alleys, is subject to review. The building is located on the southwest corner of the intersection of South Front Street and Betancourt Alley. The applicant proposes to revise the storefront facade design initially approved at the December 12, 2024 HPC meeting. As initially proposed, the original double entrances would be restored and the existing multi-divided light transom was going to be preserved and restored. However, during interior deconstruction, evidence was uncovered showing that the existing transom is not original. Ghost marks above the original entryways show that the original entries were fully inset, including the transom. To better replicate the original configuration, the existing transom will be removed and the new storefront facade will include an undivided light inset transom. A decorative cornice will adorn the top of the facade. The Odds Fellows building in Goldsboro and the Harding Place Pharmacy here in Wilmington were designed by Henry Bonnets as well and features inset entries similar to what's being proposed for the 9th Front Street. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. The proposed replacement undivided transom windows shall be clear with no tint. The scope of work and conditions included in COA MJW-34-2512, with the exception of the transom restoration, shall remain in effect. All construction shall comply with regulations and requirements by Land Development Code and other laws, and changes to the proposed project will be reviewed by the HPC or through the administrative bypass. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Would the applicant like to step forward? Please state your name and address.
I do need to be sworn
in. Thank you. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Laurie Jackson. I am the applicant for this project and excited to see you all again for our round 2 of the COA on these storefront modifications. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Questions, anyone? No. Anything to add to the report we've gotten? Or?
Just one note of interest. Henry Bonnets actually worked on this building as well in 1906. It's been a really interesting mysteries process to learn more about this building, his other local work, and we're excited to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, the entire facade, all that weight is supported on that one steel beam going across and those 3 posts?
There are 4.
There's 4?
Columns.
Columns, okay.
Yes, 2 on either.
It just amazed
side.
me that the brick isn't cracked up there. It looks so good. Yeah.
Indeed, it's quite sturdy, and we'll add a little bit of structure in with the new layout. The recessed entries have strong footings and foundations, so it's going to be quite similar to what it was originally, based on what we've uncovered on site and learned about the construction.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else in the audience like to come forward and speak as to this item? No, we'll close the evidentiary portion. Deliberations, this commission?
Huh?
Any comments?
Have any issues?
I just wanted to say that this was kind of a tough one for me, because these windows are really wonderful. When I looked at the other Bonnets buildings, it became much clearer what the right thing was to do. I think my hesitation was in the representation appearing really modern. And I understand what you just said about, making sure that that the integrity is there. How faithful is that? How faithful is the drawing? Because it does look very modern, and then you look at the other buildings and you go, oh no, of course. So how close to that are you aiming to get? Thank you. Sorry.
Where is that?
So the intent, it is more simplified.
Okay.
What we're proposing is a good deal more simplified than what we have here. And I also love these transoms.
Sure.
And I dug in for quite a while
Right.
on.
It was an impressive application. I
Thank you.
really enjoyed reading it.
Well,
It
thank
was,
you. I
yeah, it
appreciate
was well
that.
done and well researched.
Thank you. It's been a journey, but I also feel like the conclusion that we sort of came to and what we are bringing to you all for approval is the most true to the original design intent based on the research that we've done and the physical evidence that the site has given us. I do think that these transoms, as wonderful as they are, were not the work of Bonnets when it was designed. I mean, they are quite craftsman-like. You can see the details on the inside where they are cut around the existing pipe columns. And the individual dimensions of the lights are all different.
Kittywampus, right, yeah.
And in learning more about Bonnets, I mean, that's just not
his jam. No.
That's not his jam.
Right. Yeah.
And you can see like the upper part of the building, the facade is so beautifully composed. And what we're dealing with is the product of many, many years, a lot of time and a lot of modifications. So in that spirit, the details of the storefront itself, it does come in a classic profile, which reads with a very narrow sight line and is also more historically accurate than, it's not sort of a Dunkin' Donuts chunk
Gotcha.
that will be there. We'll be trying to be as true to the original storefront construction as possible, but probably part of it was wood, but some of it may have been metal as well. What we've proposed is a modern product over a wood knee wall that I think will really help to ground it with some of the other wood details. But the sort of the main event detailing on either side of the facade and in the middle, it's the metal, it's the iron.
Yeah.
The engaged pilasters and the metal cornice that runs above the transom. So we did do our homework, I will say that. But I'm happy that's sort of where we were coming from with our proposal, but I'm happy to entertain other suggestions.
I think the simpler at the bottom, even though these transoms are beautiful, but I think the simpler at the bottom is going to showcase the rest of the building. I think you lose a lot. There's so much going on down here that you lose the beauty of just that top part. I mean, it's just, it's fighting it, I think, in a lot of ways.
I agree.
I agree.
Out of curiosity, is this adjustment, I'm assuming this is a historic tax credit project?
No, it is not.
Oh, it's not. I didn't
No,
know if it
it's
was a
not.
requirement.
There are not historic tax credits on this building, but historically, these two, 9 South Front and 1 South Front, they're communicating. So these two buildings have always sort of been a pair. There were tax credits used at 1 South Front, but not here.
If there were tax credits being used here and you discovered something like that or uncovered something like that, would something like this be required?
Something like,
This adjustment, you know, if they uncovered, well, this is how the doors actually were when the building was built, in order to actually receive the tax credits, would it be required to make that adjustment on the fly?
we would approach it in the same way that we've come to you all with this information. We do our research, we document, and we make a proposal based on what we found. So if this were a tax credit project, you would see the same thing that I would submit to the State Historic Preservation Office or NPS. But I do think that we can kind of back it up.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel confident in that it is justifiable.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further to say in deliberations? Motion, anybody?
I move to approve with conditions the request for redesigning the proposed storefront facade initially approved by MJW 342512 for the property located at 9 South Front Street. The request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report, conditions 1 through 4.
Anyone second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
The sixth and final case for tonight is the proposed replacement of the existing rear deck with a new rear porch and to remove the existing patio and pergola in the backyard of 513 South 2nd Street. There is a bit of discrepancy in the history of 513 South 2nd Street because the Historic Wilmington Foundation plaque records the dwelling as the Swan House constructed in 1888, while the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion and Additional Documentation Report documents it as the Red House constructed in 1894. Either way, the two-story gable front side passage house is a contributing resource to the Historic District residential. As such, all facades of the dwelling and parcel are subject to design review. The subject property is located on the east side of South 2nd Street, approximately mid-block between its intersections with Church and Castle Streets. In addition, the HWF holds a covenant on the deed of this property, and they have provided a letter of approval for this proposed project dated June 10, 2025. The applicant is proposing to remove the existing wood deck from the rear of the house and replace it with a new rear porch. The proposed new rear porch will be 22 feet in length, matching the length of the dwelling, and will extend 12 feet from the back of the wall of the house, 2 feet further than the existing deck, for an approximate square footage of 264 square feet. The new screen porch will be constructed of wood framing with wood decking, fascia, and railings. Wood skirting with an access gate will be installed along the base of the new porch, while a 6-foot wood staircase will be centered on the rear of the new porch. The new porch will have a single slope roof, 1 story in height, with a 2 and 12 pitch for approximately 9.46 degrees, and clad metal roofing matching the roofing material of the house. The proposed porch will also have wood soffit, exposed columns and beams, painted wood, and aluminum gutters. It will be accessed by a double wood screen door at the center of the rear porch. Wall scones for lighting will flank the double door of the rear new porch. In addition, the existing pergola and patio will be removed as a result of this proposed project. The proposed project will be located at the rear of 513 2nd Street and will not be visible from the public right-of-way. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. The proposed rear porch shall not extend beyond the rear east elevation of the dwelling to minimize its potential view from the public right-of-way. The proposed metal roofing for the new porch shall be flat channeled with no striations. No mature trees or historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of this project. All construction shall comply with regulations, requirements, and land codes and other applicable laws. And changes to the project shall be reviewed by the HPC or through the administrative bypass. Are there any questions?
Nope. Okay, thank you. Is the applicant available to come up and provide any additional comments, clarification, or answer any questions? Thank you. If you could state your name and address, please.
Mark Kelly, 513 South 2nd, just here to answer any questions.
Okay. Do we have any questions? All good? Okay, I think we're all set. Thank you. Anyone in the audience like to come forward and speak to, in favor or against this proposal? Seeing none, we'll move to commissioner deliberation. Would someone like to make a motion? I mean, it looks great.
To approve.
Pretty easy.
With conditions, the request for replacing the existing rear deck with a new rear porch and removing the existing patio and pergola for the property located at 513 South 2nd Street. The request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments. Testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing and staff report. Conditions 1 through 5.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay. The items from commission, any items from the commission?
I do have something I'd like to bring up. Okay, so I guess this is my 6th year on the commission or something along those lines. And at one time, we had some purview over the stormwater around the house. And then later we were told, well, we no longer did. And then at one time we had some purview over parking at a new house. And then we were told that we no longer did. It seems basically we are centered on the architectural look of the property, which I understand. Now, I did attend, or whatever the term is, the webinar on building code and historic districts, and it's pretty interesting. I don't know if you all did it or not, but one of the things that made me really kind of think, I believe it was a 111 North 7th Street, the new house. Now, it's a new house, new construction there. The north elevation, there's no windows, and of course it's hardy board siding, or I should say cement fiberboard. And the windows are just faux windows, and that was because of fire. And the wood house next door is probably at least 10 feet or more from that structure. Now, if you walk 5th Street, 6th Street, 4th Street, on any street, there's many, many homes on those streets that are, you could literally reach out of a window and just about touch the house next door. That's how close they are. Now, I'm all for wood on these historic homes. But one of my thoughts was, if someone is doing extensive work on the side of the house, and it's in a situation where code-wise, I mean, or fire-wise or whatever, it would be much better not to have wood. If an applicant could provide siding with the same reveal and the same thickness, so visibly it would look identical to pine board, maybe it's time to think about using a more fireproof material. You know, I mean, obviously I've also thought about the fires in California and all these, you know, I don't want to see half a downtown burn, but anyway, I know on historic properties we've always gone wood, which, you know, yes, but sometimes I think maybe that needs to be thought about a little more. Well, you know, Now, I'm not talking about replacing one or two boards or something like that. Or I'm not too concerned about the front or the back of the house, but especially these houses that are on top of each other. You know, one is going to be, well, for example, the house that we continued tonight. I mean, that house is pretty close to the house next door there. And a lot of that siding, I think they've already replaced some on that facing. I think it's the south side. But, you know, maybe a house like that would have been better off if the south side at least had been done with fiber cement board just for the fire safety aspect. Anyway, as I say, just a thought.
I mean, I think if an applicant came to us with that condition and they were concerned about their safety, I would absolutely approve that, but I don't think we should be like requiring people.
Oh, no, but I'm just saying, we just have it's standard practice that wood is replaced with wood. Historic homes have wood. New construction can have fiber cement board. But I'm just saying, you know, there could be circumstances out there where, you know, might want to rethink that. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I'm done.
I think fires generally hit that boxing more than the siding. You know, it might catch a little bit of siding, but it runs up the wall and goes up, and it's that overhang that where it really catches fire. Then it goes through a soffit, and once it gets into the roof system, then you know, the roof goes up. But yeah, and Hardy made a product at one point called Artisan that was 5/8 of an inch thick. Mm-hmm. So it had that bigger, thicker shadow line, and it was cement board, fiber cement. Mm-hmm. They discontinued it for a long time, but then they just brought that back again recently, which I think
and this would emulate
be nice to see that in some new construction projects too. I'm sorry?
I said that would emulate a wood siding
That's right.
more than the
Yeah.
standard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Items from staff. I want to see if we could just bring up the little bit of information that we passed back and forth from Ms. Essie about the no longer in our packets on these agenda items, including the similar cases from the past into the application under review currently, right? So can you speak to why this decision was made and what you were reading with other situations around the state of North Carolina and why we no longer have that and what the purpose of that would be for our work?
So whenever the question was posed to me this week, I first of all read the statute, and I believe that the statute, and I'm not reading it, but your decision is that, you know, architectural features are not incongruous with the historic district. That's the general instruction from the statutes. In reading case law, they are very clear that that the directive is that we cannot cherry pick specific properties or certain properties to base decisions on, that the decision must be made in a contextual nature, that it is in the context of the entire district or community. I believe we have a few differentiations. So that case that I was referencing that is one of the most recent is Sanchez v. Town of Beaufort. They also, that is a 2010 Court of Appeals case. There is also a 2008 case also with the Town of Beaufort. That one is Mears v. Beaufort. Sanchez actually quotes that case, and in there is a directive. We cannot cherry pick properties to base decisions on. If we include specific prior decisions for specific properties, staff has done exactly that. There is no guideline for picking a property. There is no standard for picking that property, and you are picking one property to compare the current applicant to. Even if you compare it to 5 properties, you're still cherry picking certain properties to compare this application to. The directive from the Court of Appeals is clear. This is a contextual basis, and the decision must be made considering the nature of the entire district, not just specific properties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is why I believe that it is not appropriate to pick just a few properties. First of all, who picks it?
Because it's subjective.
It is subjective. It also you could pick certain properties that, that it does become too subjective. There are no guidelines on what properties you would pick, who would be in charge of picking them, who would be in charge of approving these particular properties to compare it to. And there would have to be some sort of basis that this is representative of the entire district, these particular features, in order for that one property to be considered contextually as the district. So I don't know that there has ever been a determination that any particular property is representative of the entire district.
So it's not to say that we can't, on our own, as we're doing research and preparing for these meetings and reading the applications, that we can't take it upon ourselves to go back and look at something for context and think about it, but go back and read minutes or whatever the case may be, but we're not going to have anything coming from staff that shows those cherry-picked other cases to help us that may or may not inform decisions before us currently.
Correct, because you do have every application must be considered in the context of the entire district. So whenever you are making your decisions, it is absolutely proper to think about the properties. And you may recall, oh, we did this on this one, but didn't do it over here. So what is appropriate in this circumstance based on these facts in front of us? Because it's going to be rare that a 100% type, you make certain decisions 100% of the time. So unless we can somehow say that there is one ideal property that, represents the entire district, and I don't think that's possible because they're all so highly individualized, especially, with certain different periods of architectural features and things of that nature. So it's just a contextual standard that you must make your decisions.
And do you have contemporaries in other towns and cities in North Carolina that other people are also doing this on these packets for their prospective commissions? Do you know?
I have not looked into that because my concern is only for the city of Wilmington that we are doing what is proper. Sometimes we look at other cities and it's not necessarily that they are doing what absolutely should be done, is case law changes that also may, but the entire course of case law has been that we cannot cherry pick properties, that we have to consider it in the context of the entire district. So one of the concerns, we have whenever asked about other cities, some cities, in fact, the majority of municipalities, townships in North Carolina don't have a city attorney staff, so they kind of handpick what questions to call an hourly rate attorney about. So, while certainly we, tend to look at what other people are doing, I think in this one it is very clear. If we were to handpick a few properties to present with each application, we have absolutely cherry-picked individual properties to present to you.
Okay. I have a question about something you said, Chris, that what staff presents and then we can do research, but we're not supposed to, are we?
We can do research.
Are we not supposed to go outside of what is presented at the hearings?
So you have to make your decision based on the evidence, the competent evidence presented for that particular case. But I think in considering the context of the district, and I would like to look this up specifically, but I don't believe there is anything that would prohibit you from getting to know your neighborhood, and that would include past decisions, walking around, just general observations. You live here, so I don't know that that would be appropriate. However, when making the decision, it cannot be based on the specifics of one property.
No, I got that.
It must be contextually in the district as a whole.
Yeah. Okay.
I have questions as we're on this track. We were a public hearing, and then about, a year and a half ago, it was changed to evidentiary. So are there rules of evidence that are applied more stringently now than when we were just a public hearing back a couple years ago?
So it's the procedure for quasi-judicial hearings, and that is governed by North Carolina general statutes. There are rules of evidence, but they are far more relaxed than, say, a formal court setting. So the directive is competent, reliable, substantial evidence. And again, I'm quoting from memory, so please don't quote me on that statute.
No, I understand.
So there are some guidelines, especially with codes canons, that give some guidelines on that because it's not very clearly defined in the statute what that means. So we do know that, you know, if we want to present evidence about something, it does have to be from someone who can be questioned. We know that, you know, just sending in giving you a series of emails of opinions from, you know, neighbors is not appropriate. That neighbor actually needs to be here to be confronted. But it is a very relaxed evidentiary standard compared to, say, a courtroom setting or an appellate court hearing.
Yeah, that clarification is helpful. Yeah, thank you for that. Any other questions, comments about what just occurred this month, actually? Because it wasn't there last month. It was there. You had those cases. But this is a new item for us, so we just wanted to understand that better. And
just to let you know, there were a lot of changes in 2019, so I think there was just, you know, catch up to, so there were substantial changes made most recently in 2019, so I think it was just, you know, the state catching up to what was happening in the legislature and the courts.
Yeah. Right. Okay, thank you. I've been serving as interim chair for some time now, and I think we need a full-fledged chair. Would someone like to nominate or make a motion for chair and vice chair, and we can vote on that?
Motion for Chris Yermel to be the chair.
And a vice chair? Or do we do the chair first and then a vice chair after that? Do we do them together at the same time? Chair, does that make a difference?
No, it needs to be separate.
Separate, okay.
Yes.
So we hear one nomination. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? No? I love irony. So that passes almost unanimously. And then would someone like to make a motion for vice chair?
Joan Keston.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Yeah. Do it. Okay. All right. I think we're all set then. We have a chair and vice chair. And would someone like to make a motion that we adjourn? I'm sorry?
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, we have one more staff announcement to make.
Oh, okay.
And this is one that I'm really sad to make, but Monica has accepted an incredible opportunity and is going to be leaving us for great things. So are you okay if I tell them what it is? Monica is going to be the director of the Masters in Historic Preservation program for the Pratt Institute in New York City. So,
Thank you.
If I were you.
So as I said, I'm very sad. I am so proud of her and so happy for her because it is an incredible opportunity. Obviously, it's a loss for us, but we wanted to share that with you this evening. This is going to be her last meeting. So
congratulations.
Thank you all. Thank you.
We thank her for all of her work since she joined us. We will miss her. And Ben is still here. You will see him next month, and if we start to see the caseloads that we saw back in the fall or early fall, you will also get to see Brian and or myself and or Catherine, as the case may be, if we need to step in and provide Ben with some additional support. So bear with us. I think you all remember our tenure as your historic preservation staff.
So not yet advertising for a new assistant in this department?
We literally have submitted the requisition. It's working its way through the process. So, but it's going to take us the hiring process just takes time between posting, interviewing, and then for people who have positions, giving them the time to submit notice, and if they have to relocate, time to move.
But the city does have intent to keep this office staffed as richly as it is now.
Yes.
Maybe not richly, but keeping this number.
It's
not rich.
As I said, this position, I have already submitted the requisition to HR, and we've asked for it to be posted as soon as possible.
Great.
So you should hopefully see that within the next week.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck with that, Monica.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Someone like to make a motion to adjourn? Oh, go ahead, someone do that. Someone make a motion.
I make a motion.
Is there a second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.